Hey, how's everybody doing out there? Happy Monday, pushing the limits. Thank you so much for joining us. We have so much to talk about today. It's really incredible. Z Cohen, the founder of the UNF America Tour, is going to be joining us in studio at the bottom of the hour. You know, I started the show today, or at least I wanted to start the show today to talk about the great weekend I had. I saw some great NBA basketball in Las Vegas. I got to meet one of my heroes, Spike Lee, and you know, I had such a great time this weekend and spending time with family yesterday and having to cover the news. And I've been doing the news. I've been in this business for almost 25 years. And I got to say, the last 48 hours has been both heartbreaking and one of the craziest news cycles I've ever been a part of. Obviously, we're going to cover what took place in Providence, Rhode Island, another mass shooting, and another example of the right getting it wrong without the facts, and Kash Patel and his FBI making a wrong arrest. It's just a horrible story. I grew up about maybe 45 minutes from where that shooting took place, and it's terrible. We are going to cover that. Obviously, we're going to cover what took place in Australia. Right-wingers in this country saying that all Muslims should be deported when it was actually a Muslim who was the hero that day. We're going to get to that story. And, of course, Rob Reiner and Donald Trump's despicable statements about Rob Reiner today. Absolutely deplorable. It's amazing that we have a president that would attack Rob Reiner just hours after his body was found and his wife's body was found. And obviously there has been an arrest. Sadly, one of his sons is responsible for this, or at least is being charged with double murder. So we're going to get to all these stories, and I want to get right into it, starting with what took place in Providence, Rhode Island. So the story that came about was that a man dressed in all black clothing with an assault weapon went into a classroom, shot over a dozen people. Sadly, 2 people lost their lives. That is the latest information that I have, including a professor. We don't know the motive. We have no idea. But you see, Donald Trump and Kash Patel and those in the Trump administration spread misinformation with the arrest and what took place thereafter. There are people on the right that are saying it was a Muslim that was saying Allah Akbar when we don't have any information that shows that. It started with a rumor that somebody spread online. Well, they made an arrest with someone that was staying at a hotel fairly nearby. And there were people on the right that were claiming this was a transgender. There were people on the right that were claiming this is somebody that attacked Republicans, because one woman, sadly, who lost her life was part of a club that was a Republican club. So now they're saying it was a targeted attack, which, by the way, they have no idea what they're talking about. The FBI doesn't even know who did this. This is the Attorney General basically confirming that Keystone Cash effed up once again. Have a listen to this.
So if the FBI director specifically said in his tweet that it was a tip from Providence police that led you all to Hampton Inn, can you confirm if that's true, and what exactly was the evidence that led you to this person of interest?
So there was a tip that came in, just like we were taking any other tips, and that one came in and specifically identified a person of interest, which was this individual. And so our detectives got on it, just like they got on others, but this specific one, it was actually picked up by the FBI, and they followed through with it. And they ended up coming and locating this individual of interest, and at that point, we did a thorough investigation, examined, ended up drafting some search warrants, came up with some evidence, but that evidence was examined, and we didn't have enough, obviously, to be able to prosecute anybody, and so the person was released.
How many times are we going to let Keystone Cash screw up investigations? Is there any chance that we can get anybody that is serious back in that position? This entire administration is full of fraudulent people from top to bottom. And this is the Attorney General there, or excuse me, I believe the mayor that we are going to be playing next. And then the Attorney General spoke as well, talking about how the evidence now points in a different direction. Have a listen to this.
That work continues, and it will continue tomorrow. Our prosecutors were there, 6 in total. Our victim services folks were at the hospital. But this is what these investigations look like. I've been around long enough to know that sometimes you head in one direction, and then you have to regroup and go in another. And that's exactly what has happened over the last 24 hours or so. Collectively, the team developed leads in a number of areas. One was chased to ground. It led to us detaining a person of interest. And so those words and how we choose those words when we're talking about an investigation matter. And what it means here is that certainly there was some degree of evidence that pointed to this individual, but that evidence needed to be corroborated and confirmed. And over the last 24 hours, leading into just very, very recently, that evidence now points in a different direction. So what that means is that this person of interest needs to be and should be released. I think what is really unfortunate that this person's name was leaked to the public. It's hard to put that back in the bottle, okay? So we're going to proceed very carefully here.
Yeah, who are the people that are spreading misinformation, claiming that this guy was transgender, his name released? Can you imagine being in a hotel room, minding your own business in the middle of the night, and then all of a sudden you've got 20 agents that are knocking on your door, asking you questions about a murder that took place down the road? Can you imagine what this kid has gone through? And yes, my heart goes out to the victims, their families. It's awful. And I'm sick of all these mass shootings. I'm tired of it every single day. And then there's Donald Trump. Donald Trump talking about prayers, because if there's anybody that should be talking about prayer, anybody who's the religious man, who's a good faith person, yeah, of course it would be Donald Trump. This is how he responded to this.
Well, I've been pretty briefed on the Brown University situation, what a terrible thing it is, and all we can do right now is pray for the victims and for those that were very badly hurt, it looks like, and we'll inform you later as to what's happening, but it's a shame. It's a shame. Just pray. Thank you very much.
Yeah, let me be very clear, Mr. President. You could take your prayers and you could shove them up your ass as far as I'm concerned, because they mean absolutely nothing. J.D. Vance on social media saying, stop attacking us for praying. We can take action and pray. Oh, really? Please tell me what action the Trump administration has taken when it comes to gun violence. Can you please tell me what action the Trump administration has ever taken when it comes to gun violence? Nothing. Your prayers mean nothing. And then we look at this horrific, tragic mass shooting that took place in Australia. A father and son duo shooting as many innocent people as they can. Jewish people in Australia that were celebrating the first day of Hanukkah. Over 15 people have lost their lives. Over 40 people were shot. The age range, 10 years old to 83 years old. A 10-year-old girl lost her life. An 83-year-old who survived the Holocaust. And what pains me even more, if that's not bad enough, yes, two animals carried out these attacks, a father and son duo. Yes, the father was killed. The son is in critical condition. The attacks from Laura Loomer and the right calling on all Muslims to be deported when it was actually a Muslim who is the hero here. And that cannot be denied, because we've all seen the heroic video of this man. And I wish I could give him a hug. My understanding is he was shot in the arm and the hand, and he's going to be okay. The heroic video of him tackling the father while armed, disarming him. That is what true patriotism is. That is what a hero looks like. Oh, yeah, and by the way, he's a Muslim from Syria. His name is Ahmed al-Ahmed, a true living hero. But they want to deport all Muslims, and they want to paint the picture that all Muslims are bad and all Muslims are terrorists and all Muslims want to kill people, which couldn't be further from the truth. I remember after 9/11, we had attacks in this country. And yes, I will give George W. Bush credit for something. He did try to lower the temperature. He called out the attacks on Muslims. He did what a president at least should do. and tried to lower the temperature. And the country did come together. It might have only been for a week, but the country did come together. Donald Trump is incapable of that. And these idiots on social media that are talking about, oh, look at all the strict gun laws in Australia. You still had this mass shooting. Okay, you want to talk about the stats in Australia? Here it is. America has 12 times the population of Australia and 580 times the number of annual gun murders. So don't you start talking about gun legislation when you guys do nothing here in this country. And there's a reason why there's so few gun murders in Australia, because they have very strict laws. And I never said you put all the laws on the books, it'll stop every single mass shooting or gun violence from happening. I've never made that claim. By the way, I never would. But I'm just so sick of it. I'm at the point now where it's like I can't even handle it anymore. Every single time there is a horrible tragedy, and I am going to get to the Rob Reiner thing in a moment. Every single time there is a huge tragedy in this country, the right always politicizes it. And when the left wants to talk about gun control, they claim, oh no, the left is politicizing it. No, we're not. We just don't want this stuff to happen anymore. The only school shooting that you guys have ever cared about is the Charlie Kirk shooting. Every single time there's a school shooting, thoughts and prayers. Got to harden our schools. Got to lock that back door, said Ted Cruz. More guns make us safer. The only school shooting many of these MAGA supporters care about is the Charlie Kirk shooting, period. Because if they actually cared about any of these other shootings besides saying thoughts and prayers, they would actually take action. So going back to what J.D. Vance said, that scumbag, no, you guys have done nothing. Your own FBI screwed it up in Providence, Rhode Island. There is a murderer that is on the loose right now. People are scared. They're worried, rightfully so. And the FBI has absolutely no idea what they're doing. Maybe you shouldn't have sent half of those agents to cities across the country to try to attack Antifa. Maybe you shouldn't have done that. And they've made the local police and law enforcement there look really bad. By the way, from what I've learned, it's not their fault at all. The FBI took this case over, and they're the ones who made the arrest, or they're responsible for making the arrest of someone that had nothing to do with this shooting. Nothing. Zero. But you won't hear any criticism from the right. You'll hear them politicize everything. And because, sadly, one woman who lost her life there on that campus happened to be a Republican from some Republican club there, the right is claiming this was a political attack. They have absolutely no idea what the motive was. No clue. But because one Republican lost her life and one is one too many, they think it's a political attack. They have no idea. And Laura Loomer has spread rumors that the shooter was screaming, Allah Akbar. Again, no evidence that that happened. None. Zero. Now, I hope local law enforcement do their due diligence, and I'm sure they will, and find the person that was responsible for this. It is horrible. And I hope that father-son duo in Australia burn in hell. It's horrible. And yes, anti-Semitism crimes are on the rise. Absolutely, it needs to be addressed. But for the most part, Australia is doing a far better job when it comes to gun violence in their country than we are here. Because they actually have politicians there that actually care on both sides. About 5 years ago, I was invited to attend a charity event hosted by a number of different celebrities. And if memory serves me correct, it was raising money for Parkinson's. And one of those individuals that was there walking the red carpet was a guy by the name of Rob Reiner. Now, I grew up with his movies as a director, as an actor. The man was absolutely brilliant. And meeting him was a very special moment for me. He's Rob Reiner. And as I knew today, I'd be talking about the mass shooting that took place in Providence, Rhode Island. Obviously, I knew about the horrific mass shooting, and I'd be talking about what took place in Australia. I didn't think I'd have to be talking about Rob Reiner today in this way. Last night, we learned his daughter showed up to their home and found her father and her mother with their throats slit, stabbed to death. And then almost immediately after, the news circulated online. their son, who struggled with drug addiction and mental illness most of his entire life, had been arrested earlier today for the killing of his parents. And it is so tragic. And we've learned stories that in public, they had gotten into massive arguments, one at Conan O'Brien's party just on Saturday, from what we're learning. And yes, it appears as though the son is responsible for this heinous crime of killing both of his parents. And I hope they rest in peace, and it's horrible. I cannot believe that we are living in a time today where Donald Trump's words on this horrific tragedy and smearing Rob Reiner is just pathetic. But I want to read to you what class sounds like. This was Barack Obama's message on the brutal murder of Rob Reiner and his beautiful wife. Barack Obama said, quote, "Michelle and I are heartbroken by the tragic passing of Rob Reiner and his beloved wife, Michelle. Rob's achievements in film and television gave us some of our most cherished stories on screen. But beneath all the stories he produced was a deep belief in the goodness of people and a lifelong commitment to putting that belief into action. Together, he and his wife lived lives defined by purpose. They will be remembered for their values they championed and the countless people that they inspired. We send our deepest condolences to all who love them," the former president posted on X. That is what a leader sounds like. That is what a man of decency sounds like. It doesn't matter what Rob Reiner's political opinions were, completely irrelevant. Oh, yeah, and by the way, right after the horrific murder of Charlie Kirk, Rob Reiner went on Piers Morgan, a show that I do constantly. And Rob Reiner called out how horrible it was. And he said all the right things. He never endorsed or condoned political violence. In fact, he called it out consistently. But while Barack Obama offered his condolences, make no mistake about it, Donald Trump used the deaths of two people to settle political scores. He decided to ramble on Truth Social, and he mocked Rob Reiner as a tortured and struggling person. He smeared him with the made-up slur of Trump derangement syndrome, and somehow he managed to turn this horrific tragedy into somewhat of a self-congratulatory rant about his own golden age of America. And then at the end of this horrible, horrible Truth Social tweet that he put out, he tacked on a barrage of cruelty about a very, very good, decent man and his beautiful wife, who tragically were both murdered. Now, there are people on the right, many of whom, most that I've seen on social media, that are not only refusing to criticize the statements that Donald Trump has made, but defending it and saying, well, Rob Reiner was a left-leaning propagandist, and he called on the death of Donald Trump. By the way, Rob Reiner never did that. He never enjoyed someone else's pain. He called out political violence. Yes, he did not like Donald Trump no more than myself, but he never asked for political violence. He never endorsed political violence. And the right can't even take it upon themselves to call out the President of the United States for his horrible statement that he made on Truth Social. Despicable, disgusting, and cruel about Rob Reiner and his wife. There is no excuse. This is unprecedented territory, and we cannot normalize the statements that Donald Trump has made. We can't normalize the times that we are living in. We can't normalize the fact that there is more gun violence in this country than virtually any other country in the world. We can't normalize the fact that anti-Semitism is rising. Hate crimes are rising. They started rising under Donald Trump's first administration, and they will continue to rise. Folks, we can't normalize these times that we are living in. We have a good, decent, brilliant man that was murdered, he and his wife, and the President of the United States is basically gloating about it, making it about himself. I look at the last 48 hours. It's very sad. There are many families that did not have their loved ones come home. There are many people right now as we speak that are fighting for their lives. As I said, a 10-year-old girl, an 83-year-old who survived the Holocaust, people that were celebrating on a beach the first day of Hanukkah with their families and friends, and it was supposed to be a joyous day. A rabbi lost his life. And instead of calling out hate and evil, instead of trying to honor Rob Reiner and his wife, and instead of trying to figure out who did this in Providence, Rhode Island, the right is politicizing everything. Instead of talking about gun control and how do we prevent these things from happening down the road, the right wants to blame the left for everything, not even knowing who's responsible. There hasn't been an arrest. We haven't even seen the person's face in Providence, Rhode Island, and they're blaming the left. There are people on the right, again, that are claiming that they want all Muslims to be deported. When the hero, the true hero, we've seen the video, you couldn't be more of a hero than this guy. Unarmed, tackled a guy with what appeared to be an AR-15. Ahmed Al-Ahmed. We need to continue to say his name. He is a living hero. And as I said, if I had the opportunity to meet this man, I'd give him a big hug and I'd probably get emotional. And I'd say, thank you. You are a true hero. I wish we had you in this country. He is a Syrian Muslim, and the lies from the right are saying, no, he was a Christian. Not true. His family members have spoken. Not that it even should matter, but the reason why I'm bringing up his religion is because so many people on the right are attacking Muslims like they did after 9/11. He is a Syrian Muslim. But you guys want to deport all Muslims, right? They're all bad people. You want to deport all brown people in this country. Sure. So, in review, before I take a break here, the shooting that took place in Providence, Rhode Island, Kash Patel and the FBI screwed up big time. They made the horrible mistake of arresting the wrong person who they thought was responsible, as they called a person of interest, and somehow, some way, his name was leaked. And it was all over social media, and the right putting up more lies about this guy, that he was pro-transgender, that he had transgender friends, that it was a hate crime. And then, as they announced last night, they were releasing him and he was no longer a person of interest. Did anybody on the right retract? Did anybody on the right apologize? Did Kash Patel apologize? No. I hope this kid sues the hell out of Kash Patel's FBI because, quite frankly, he deserves it. And then this horrible, tragic event that took place in Australia where you have these MAGA buffoons on social media saying, oh, I guess those tough gun laws in Australia didn't work. As I said before, and I say again, America has 12 times the population of Australia and 580 times the number of annual gun murders. So yes, I'm pretty confident that their laws that are put on the books are saving lives. It didn't save the lives of over 15 people that died, but I can tell you right now, it saved tons of lives compared to what we face in the United States of America. But the right doesn't seem to understand that. And again, they want to make it sound like, gun laws put on the books, they don't work. Well, go ahead and mix and match the gun violence in Australia compared to the gun violence in the United States of America. And of course, Rob Reiner. I am so deeply saddened to his family for what took place. Obviously, his son, an extremely disturbed individual, extremely disturbed. And I hope he spends the rest of his life behind bars and suffers, quite frankly. What he did to his parents is beyond the pale. And we can't even have a president of the United States say, hey, thoughts and prayers to you and your family. That's all he had to say. Even if he had said something like, well, I didn't always agree with Rob Reiner, but this is horrible. Not that anybody cares right now whether you agreed with his politics or not. Who cares? But Donald Trump is not capable of doing that. He's not capable of going on social media. Can you imagine if a former president used the same tone that Donald Trump used after Charlie Kirk's murder? Can you imagine what the right would be saying? But if their orange turd 34 count felon adjudicated liable sexual abuser does it, it's totally fine. Whataboutism. I am sickened, disgusted, and any single person, let me repeat, any single human being who defends Donald Trump's Truth Social tweet, you are no better than him. You are scum. You are scum of the earth. Shame on you. We are going to take a break, and when we come back, we are going to be joined by Z Cohen, the founder of the UNF America Tour. My understanding is she spent some of her time and years of her life very close to where this shooting in Australia took place, so I'll definitely be talking to her about that. I have a very busy week lined up, starting with Wednesday. I'm doing a 3-hour, my understanding, one-on-one debate with Tim Pool live on his radio show as he's bringing his radio show to Las Vegas this week. So I'll be doing his show on Wednesday, 3 hours debating Tim Pool, which I'm certainly looking forward to. I have a lot of bones to pick with him. I'll be doing that show on Wednesday. And on Thursday, after I do the show here, I'm going to be headed to Phoenix for the AmFest and the UNF America Tour. And I will be doing a live studio audience debate with Alex Stein. And I'm looking forward to that as well. So a very busy week ahead. And maybe after this week ends, maybe I might take a little break as far as debating MAGA for a few weeks, just a few weeks. But I am certainly looking forward to that. And again, I want to say this again, and I'm not one of those people that just throws out thoughts and prayers. But my heart goes out to everybody that was affected by this horrible shooting in Australia. It reminded me of the October 1 shooting here in Las Vegas in this aspect. When I saw videos of people running for their lives and sadly dead bodies and injured people all over, it reminded me of October 1, the massacre, just the carnage that took place. My heart goes out to everybody that was affected there, good people in Australia. And of course, my heart goes out to those in Providence, Rhode Island. I can't even imagine the pain and suffering that they are going through as someone walking into another classroom, and this time a college campus, and shooting over 14 people, 2 people losing their lives. It's absolutely tragic and it's horrid. And for God's sakes, please catch this person who did this. Please. And I'm so sad to hear about Rob Reiner and his wife. It's so horrible. I was in shock yesterday. I got a phone call from a friend of mine. I was enjoying some time with my family and friends, and I got a phone call from a friend of mine that said, "Hey, did you hear about Rob Reiner?" I said, "No." And I was just in utter disbelief. It's been a tough couple days. And especially right around the holidays, right? Christmas right around the corner, New Year's Eve. New Year's right around the corner. That just makes you feel like you need to enjoy your time here. We don't know how much we're guaranteed on the planet Earth, but the time we are here, we better make the most of it. Spend your time with your friends, spend time with your family, appreciate the people that you love and tell them, and that's really all we can do. And for God's sakes, I don't care how big of a Trump supporter you are. Can you just put that off to the side for just a moment and call out what is despicable in the President of the United States rhetoric and what he said about Rob Reiner on Truth Social, which is absolutely awful. It's absolutely awful. But I expect that from Donald Trump, right? I expect that. It's just absolutely despicable, and it just breaks my heart. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to take a quick break. Obviously, this is a very difficult show. I am going to take a quick break. And when we come back, Z Cohen from the UNF America Tour is going to be joining us in studio. We're going to talk to her about the news of the day. Of course, we'll also take some phone calls at 702-221-7283. And again, that number, if you want to be a part of the conversation, it's 702-221-7283. Trust me when I say if there's any show where I want to hear from you, it would be today. We'll take a quick break. Z joining us in studio next. It's Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Here's the deal. The country's a mess, and America's youth is stuck at the center of a tug-of-war between propaganda, billionaires, and political clowns who think TikTok is a national security threat, yet can't open their own email. But the real threat that keeps them up at night isn't TikTok. It's the power of the youth vote, and that's what the Unfuck America tour is after. We're traveling the country, hitting campuses and cities, exposing the right wing's playbook and calling out all the tricks they use to hook young people. We saw the youth vote shift in 2024, and if we don't reclaim that momentum now, we lose the future. Our future. We're not bankrolled by billionaires, corporations, or dark money. We're backed by regular people like you, who won't sit back while the rich strip this country for parts. We need you to help us stay on the road to push back against the misinformation machine. Click the link in the description or head over to unfuckamericatour.com to donate, because nobody else is coming to fix this mess.
Hey everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premium Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve
is after. We're traveling the country, hitting campuses and cities, exposing the right wing's playbook and calling out all the tricks they use to hook young people. We saw the youth vote shift in 2024, and if we don't reclaim that momentum now, we lose the future. Our future. We're not bankrolled by billionaires, corporations, or dark money. We're backed by regular people like you, who won't sit back while the rich strip this country for parts. We need you to help us stay on the road to push back against the misinformation machine. Click the link in the description or head over to unfuckamericatour.com to donate, because nobody else is coming to fix this mess.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a very busy news day on Monday. I know I say that like every day, but especially today, just heartbreaking stories and the right's response to really, let's just call it for what it is, all three of these stories. The conspiracy theories about what took place in Providence. Oh, this was an attack on the right. He said Allah Akbar when the FBI doesn't even know who did it yet. They arrested the guy. the lies about gun control laws in Australia and the sad story there. And, of course, Donald Trump's Truth Social tweet about Rob Reiner and his wife. You couldn't get more despicable than that. The lovely lady that is joining us in studio as I wear my Un-F America hat. I look like Tim Pool today. I don't know. She gave me this wonderful hat. I probably will wear it on the Tim Pool show. The founder of the Un-F America Tour, which I am so proud to be a part of. Z Cohen joining us in studio. Z, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Thanks for having me. Of course. Yeah.
I feel like Tim Pool right now. I'm very warm. So I didn't know this about you. There's a lot of stuff that we're going to talk about today, and thank you for being here.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that you grew up very close, and you went to school very close to where the shooting happened. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah. So I think that this is now, unfortunately, like the second tragedy that Bondi Beach has had, which is pretty rare. So Bondi is like pretty close to the city, Sydney downtown area. And yeah, it's just weird because we don't have these situations in Australia. Like the last mass shooting that we had was in 1996 in Port Arthur. It was at a mall. I think 34 people passed away in that shooting. And we did a gun buyback straight away, like within a couple weeks. And by the way, this is something that they don't talk about online. The guy that was the prime minister at the time was like best friends with George Bush. His name was, I think it was John Howard. And he was a very, very staunch conservative that did this. And he did the gun buyback. And we have not had a mass shooting since.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about that. I was unaware that you spent all that time in Australia, and I can't even imagine what these families are going through. I mean, as I mentioned before, a 10-year-old girl lost her life.
Yeah.
An 83-year-old who survived the Holocaust. I mean, it's just unimaginable.
Yeah.
And I want to talk, obviously the tragedy itself is horrible, but the way the right is responding to this, you couldn't be more despicable. First of all, the lies. The Laura Loomers of the world saying that all Muslims should be deported when it was actually a Muslim by the name of Ahmed al-Ahmed, who is a Syrian Muslim, and I'm sure you've seen the video, a hero who took down the father and disarmed him. God knows how many lives he saved.
Yeah.
He was shot in the arm and the hand, and he's going to be okay. And everyone on the right saying, oh, you know what? All Muslims should be deported. Not everybody on the right is saying that, but some of the bigger names on the right on social media are saying that. And it's so despicable. And it reminds me after 9/11 when there were attacks on Muslims. And say what you want about George W. Bush. I thought he was a horrible president. But in the days after 9/11, I thought he did a pretty good job in getting people to lower the temperature.
Yeah.
And the country came together, which obviously Trump is incapable of doing in any situation. And then there's the other lie. The gun control thing that you just talked about. They're making the case that, oh, you see, gun laws, they don't work. America has 12 times the population of Australia and 580 times the number of annual gun murders.
Yep.
How can they make this claim? It's like, and I'm just talking about Australia. We haven't even gotten to Providence yet and the Rob Reiner stuff. Just the way they're responding to this Australia thing, your thoughts on that?
Well, it's crazy because I knew that they were going to go the Muslim route because they can't win the gun argument. But then when we found out that the guy that disarmed him was Muslim, then they were like, well, actually. But yeah, I mean, the facts are the facts, right? Like we did the gun buyback program in 1996. We've not had a mass shooting since then. Looking up the stats, we've had 1,000 people die from gun-related deaths in Australia. That's not including suicides. I don't count suicides. I think it's like just a separate issue. And there's been 400,000, not including suicides, in the United States since 1996. So clearly 400 to 1, I think the gun buyback program worked.
Of course it does.
I think.
Of course it does. How did they even try to make this argument? And then Providence, Rhode Island.
Yeah.
My first job in radio, I worked about 45 minutes from there, a beautiful little city. And this individual dressed in black goes into a classroom, kills 2 people, shoots over 12 people. Kash Patel's FBI. They arrest the wrong guy. He's gloating about it again, like he gloated about after Charlie Kirk. And the conspiracy theories from the right, this was someone who was a transgender. This is somebody who was dating a transgender. I've seen everything. And then they release him. And they say he's not a person of interest anymore. By the way, I don't blame the local police report, but because people that I've talked to said this was the FBI that screwed this up. It wasn't. They made the local law enforcement look really bad, and then they're the ones that had to do the press conference yesterday. They couldn't flat out say this wasn't our fault, but clearly you could see that it was. And then Laura Loomer saying, "Well, he said Allah Akbar." They don't even know. The FBI doesn't even know who's responsible for this, and they're already calling him a Muslim. I mean, it's just.
Is this the first or the second guy that was the wrong guy? I thought this is the second one, right?
Well, the first, they arrested somebody who was in custody for 19 hours. This was an innocent, as far as I know, innocent kid in his early 20s who was an engineer, who was in a hotel, and at 4:00 in the morning, they start knocking on his door and they arrest him. And I can't even imagine what this kid's gone through the last 19 hours.
Was he a student or he was a random
not my
person?
I don't know a lot about him, but my understanding is he was not a student there.
So just a
Staying
random
at a
guy?
hotel. Yeah, it's insane.
Oh my God.
And why did the FBI do this? Because they got a random tip. I mean,
Ugh,
and again, Laura Loomer and the right-wing morons on social media saying he said Allah Akbar, and this was because sadly one of the people that died was somebody from a Republican club. They don't even know who was responsible for this, and they're already saying, "Oh, this was an attack on the left."
oh
I mean,
my
it's just
God.
like, and then there's Rob Reiner,
Yeah.
and we were just talking about this off the air, and I'm sure you saw Donald Trump's Truth Social tweet, and I know you said you had posted something about it that went
Yeah.
viral. When you read his statement and the vile statement he made, what goes through your mind? When you
I
saw
mean,
it?
it's ridiculous. First of all, Rob Reiner was such a good guy. Everybody says this, right? I didn't know him personally, but like everybody that I know that knows him has said that his family was just like so genuine, like such good people. And clearly like this was an issue of like mental health, right? Like that happened. And then Trump, it blows me because were we not having an argument literally less than a month ago about Destiny saying that we should turn down the rhetoric and that the right should be afraid because they're not going to turn it down otherwise? And Adam Mockler saying the same thing, and everybody saying that we shouldn't be doing that we should be turning it down. Erica Kirk, who, I mean, I'm sure you saw the town hall, right? When she spoke to Hunter, she still could not say that we should turn down the rhetoric, right? Like I just don't understand. The hypocrisy is like beyond me.
The hypocrisy is just insane. And it's not surprising what Donald Trump said. What gets my blood boiling even more is that Rob Reiner was one of the first people who called out what happened to Charlie Kirk. He went on Piers Morgan and he said how horrible it was. Rob Reiner never endorsed or would ever endorse any form of violence. And yet there's people on social media that are saying, the left, they celebrated the Charlie Kirk death. You're always going to find idiots on social media that are going to say horrible things. They're saying horrible things about Rob Reiner. There are some idiots that were celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, not elected officials. But somehow that justifies Donald Trump's statement he made. He's the freaking president of the United States.
Yeah, it's just I just wonder what it would be like if Obama did this. I really wonder because and like Jack Posobiec right now, right? Like saying that, all we've done is, celebrate Charlie Kirk's death and that the right would never do that. Well, all I see on the right today on Twitter is talking about Rob Reiner. So, and not in a way that is good. So I don't understand.
Well, Jack Posobiec is a lying piece of human scum.
Yes, he is.
I've debated him on Piers Morgan. He's an awful human being. I call him Bumble Jack because while calling himself a good Christian, he opened up a Bumble account, first lied about it and then admitted to it. Bumble Jack is also the guy who started the Pizzagate conspiracy theory. That's his claim to fame. Yes, he started the Pizzagate conspiracy theory, which put lives at risk. He never retracted. He never apologized. Jack Posobiec is a piece of human scum, and I wish him nothing but the worst, as well as I would for anybody that is defending Donald Trump's statements about Rob Reiner.
Yeah.
It is despicable. I agree with everything you said. I met Rob Reiner 5 years ago. They were wonderful people. They did a lot for charity, and it is so sad what happened. And again, who cares if you agree or disagree with his politics? Jim Norton, who I don't always agree with, who's a brilliant comedian, went on social media and he said it best. Nobody gives an F whether you agreed with Rob Reiner's politics. How about just say, I'm sorry, thoughts to the family. What about that?
Yeah. I don't even remember Rob Reiner necessarily being like really, I mean, I know that he's anti-Trump, but I don't remember him like ever being a super like spokesperson for the anti-Trump
he wasn't
movement.
somebody who like spoke at the DNC, but he certainly was somebody that was willing to do interviews and call out Donald Trump.
Yeah, he was.
He did say Donald Trump should be convicted of treason. He did make statements like that, but so what?
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that he called on Donald Trump's assassination.
No.
It doesn't mean that he celebrated any political violence. He was the opposite of that. And it's like, supposed to be the leader of the free world, making it about himself after a husband and wife throats are slit and they're murdered. I mean, a barrage of cruelty and a smear saying he has Trump derangement syndrome, and turning a tragedy into some sort of self-congratulatory post. I mean, it's just like, I just don't understand. It's so beyond the pale to me, but I should expect this. But even when I see it, I'm still shocked by it because I just can't believe we have a president that behaves in this way.
I'm not shocked by Trump anymore because I'm just so used to everything that he does. But what I'm shocked about is the fact that the right will still defend this, like all the way from the top down. It's like even Jack Posobiec, who literally had just tweeted that hours before, will still defend it. It's like, and then people, I mean, this is the thing too. I hope that Jack sees this. You will never be Charlie Kirk, unfortunately for you. I know you want to be so badly, but I will give this to Charlie. At least Charlie was likable. Yeah. As much as I disagreed with everything Charlie said, Jack is not likable. Yeah. He is not talented.
And he's a phony.
Yeah. So like, good luck to you if that's the way you're going.
I want to, before we, before we take phone calls, Z, I want to ask you about a member of Unif America Tour who I've met and I've had private conversation. I think he's a really good guy, Hunter. Hunter is the guy who asked Charlie Kirk the last question in the last seconds of his life, and Hunter did this show, and I thought it was an interesting interview, and he seems like a really good guy with a good heart. And Erica Kirk did a town hall, I believe it was in New York City, and I saw the question that Hunter asked, which was basically, listen, I condemn what happened to Charlie Kirk. I condemn all forms of violence, but Donald Trump, the buck stops with him. He's the president. He basically said, will you condemn all the statements he's made about hanging politicians and they deserve death and, all those other things? And she completely dodges the question.
Yeah.
Like completely, right? Mm-hmm. She doesn't answer the question. She doesn't bring up Donald Trump's name, and she gives this generic answer. I have no respect for her. I'm sorry, I don't.
Yeah. I mean, listen, Erica, if you need help with a PR firm, reach out, because honestly, they're a way to dodge these questions that are a lot more professional than what she did. I mean, the fact that Barry Weiss then had to redirect the question and say, okay, that's really great, but this was actually the question. Yeah. And then the right wants to attack Barry Weiss over that.
Yeah,
her job is to be a journalist.
Right.
That's their job.
I agree.
Like, I don't understand this. We can't ask questions just because you're a widow. We can't.
No, I'm done.
You.
I'm done being nice. Yeah. And I know a lot of the people at Turning Point, I could care less what they think about me. I don't care. I'm not going to start caring now. I believe she is a grifter. I'm sorry what happened to her husband. You should try being a mother and stop going on this tour around the country raising money and a $10,000 plate dinner that she had at Mar-a-Lago.
Wasn't that her answer though? Was that mothers are taking too much time doing Pilates?
Right.
I have not seen that woman with her children.
No,
ever.
I don't think she's a good mother. I think she is a grifter. She's made an upwards of $10 million in donations. Someone that net worth was already over $15 million. I believe she holds that tissue like a prop in her hand everywhere she goes, and like she's patting makeup. It's very strange. I understand that everybody grieves differently. She refuses to call out Donald Trump for anything. At Charlie's own memorial service, Donald Trump was talking about how much he hates his enemies, meaning Democrats. As far as I know, they were selling merchandise at that memorial service, which is beyond the pale despicable. Hours after Charlie Kirk was murdered, they were sending mass text messages around the country asking people for money with Erica Kirk's name on it. That weird video where she basically told somebody in her group, hey, I want you to video me crying on my dead husband's body in a coffin, is also beyond the pale. That's a private moment. The fact that it looked weird to me. It looked staged to me.
Yes.
The fact that she had to tell somebody, hey, I want you to do a 20-second video over my dead husband's body is so bizarre and sick. I think she's a sick human being. I think she's a grifter. I'm sorry you lost your husband, but I don't think you're a good person. I think she's a fake Christian, and I'm sorry. That's how I feel about her. I'm not a fan.
Our organization respected Charlie's murder more than she did. We took down our donation page for over a week, and we didn't want anybody to donate to us because we were like, that's inappropriate.
Yeah.
After what just happened.
They didn't. They did the opposite.
Yeah. As soon as they started, we were like, well, I guess that it's free game because
I'm just so sick of the rhetoric. And yes, there's going to be people on the left that are going to say things that I disagree with. I called it out when people all over the country were celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. There were no elected officials that were celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. But you're always going to get some people on the left on social media on both sides of the aisle. There's going to be people that are going to say horrible things, and I called that out. But when you look at what's going on in this country right now, and you look at, you cannot convince me that Donald Trump isn't a part of the problem here when it comes to political violence. You cannot convince that to me. And then they blame the left for the assassination attempts.
Yeah.
You can't, I mean, the first assassination attempt was a registered Republican, a 22-year-old who was a registered Republican from a staunch Trump family.
Mm-hmm.
The second assassination attempt was from a guy who once voted for Donald Trump in 2016.
Yeah.
And they blame the left.
Yeah.
The left is I mean, it's like, again, you just, and then the Antifa stuff,
Mm-hmm.
which, by the way, I thought meant anti-fascist, which I don't see anything wrong with. They're saying in the Trump administration that Antifa is the most dangerous terrorist or group in this country. They don't even know what they are. They don't know who the leader is. They don't know where the money's coming from. They don't know where their headquarters are. But yeah, they're Antifa, bad. They don't want to talk about white supremacy. They don't want to talk about white supremacy. They don't want to talk about the Proud Boys or the Oath Keepers. But yeah, anti-fascist people, they're the ones that we have to be worried about. The people that are dressed up in chickens and frogs. Those are the people.
In Portland, yep. With Robbie.
Yeah.
You gotta watch out that Robbie guy.
Robbie Rothsteiner. Yeah, that guy who dresses up Gary the Guantanamo Gator. We got to really worry about that guy. Yeah. Before we take calls, Z, and if you're just joining us, Z Cohen in studio, the founder of the Enough America Tour, as you see the hat that I am graciously wearing right now. I don't think I've ever wore a winter hat in studio. Have I? I'm going Tim Pool today. I'm doing his show Wednesday. Maybe I'll wear this. But so we are going out to AmFest, everyone with the Enough America Tour. And I'm looking forward to that. We have a real fun event that we're going to be doing Saturday, right? That you guys have put together, and you guys have done a wonderful job. So before we get to this wonderful event, let's talk about somebody by the name of Andrew Wilson, who canceled the event.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because Andrew is a liar. And I said to Andrew yesterday, I said, hey, is it true that, that you're not coming out here? Because I wanted to get a little more information. My understanding is that the AmFest people don't even want him there. Let's start there before we talk about your event.
Yeah.
What can you share with me on that?
So we were working directly with Uncensored America. And for those of the listeners that don't know what Uncensored is, this is like the Turning Point is not far right enough, so we need to be even further right than Turning Point. We need to basically be this Groyper, Nick Fuentes crowd. So they work with these like super red pillars, people like Myron Gaines, Andrew Wilson, Owen Schroyer, who was part of Alex Jones's group. And so we were working with them directly, and everything was going smoothly. I mean, we had Andrew booked, we had Myron booked, and then we had this other guy called like Jake Snake or something. I think he's an Australian guy who's got a.
I know Jake. He's one of Andrew Wilson's right-hand men. He moderated my debate with Andrew, and I think he's a complete imbecile.
Is he Australian? Did I get that?
I think so. Yeah, he's a complete buffoon. Yeah.
So
one of Andrew's boys.
Yeah. So they were all booked, scheduled. CNN is going to be following us. CNN was in touch with them. Everything was like scheduled to go, and then they were arguing a lot over opening statements and over the topic and all of these things, because they don't want to debate about Trump. They never want to debate about Trump. So, and we were saying like, listen, we want to actually have a debate, right? Like they were like, oh, we want to debate about feminism. What the hell that means? Because they don't want to talk about, because they know that they can't argue against Trump.
Right.
So then instead of saying that they didn't want to do that, they made the excuse, or Andrew specifically, I guess, made the excuse that he thought that this was inside the Turning Point event, and because he doesn't have tickets and it's not inside Turning Point, that we're basically not famous enough to go to our bar and do the event. So I just picture like Andrew Wilson like begging on the side of the road in like a thong for tickets, like to Turning Point, that he's never going to get into. Like there's no way.
These are very weird people, first of all.
Weird.
Like they spend their living just claiming that they're master debaters, and I had Charlie on the show last week, and the way he treated her was just disgusting. I've heard that, the AmFest people don't want Andrew Wilson there, and he probably, what is he going to fly out there for? He didn't want to just do your event. That's probably why he backed out of it, in my opinion. So the chain smoking idiot, fake Christian, is a liar.
It's crazy to think that there are literal organizers from Turning Point that we're friends with that couldn't get into the event because it's so packed.
Yeah.
As if Andrew Wilson would get on any type of list to get into Turning Point.
By the way, I was criticizing him for chain smoking, and I noticed he finally stopped smoking on the Pierce Morgan show the other day.
I mean, it looks so ridiculous.
He and his cronies. I mean, I debated another one of his idiots that I guess co-hosts the show with him sometimes, and the guy looks like 300 pounds of chewed bubble gum, and he told me to take off my hat, which I did, and I said, now will you take off your shirt? He did not. But these are just not serious people. They want to talk about, and I just would fall asleep, they want to talk about where they get there. I'm trying to remember, it was like an abortion debate for 2 hours. Every time I bring up something Trump did, he said, yeah, but what about abortion? And then the entire debate tended, at least to me, to be about where he gets his ethics from, his ethical system. I don't care where you get your ethical system from. It could be from your fake religion, your family. I don't care. I'm just asking you a question about Trump and how you feel about it. I want your opinion. No, they won't. They won't answer direct questions. And then I won the debate. Because for 2 hours, every single time you brought something up about Trump, I said, what about those 600,000 babies that were murdered? I won the debate. Yeah, you're a great master debater. And people pay this guy $250 an hour for debating advice? Are you kidding me?
Do we have confirmation of that?
Yeah,
I find it hard to believe.
I would love for somebody to call in and say, have you paid? I almost want to use a different voice, and I just want to have a conversation and listen to him give me advice on how to debate and record it and play it on the air. Yeah. I actually want to do it because he's such a fool. So he cancels.
Well, which is funny too, because let me also mention that Andrew loves to mention how many live stream viewers he has and how famous he is and how he should be paid for everything. Meanwhile, I don't even think that man gets a quarter of what Destiny and Adam
get. Not even a quarter. Not even a sliver.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no question that Destiny is one of the biggest streamers on the planet. That's not up for debate. And Adam Mockler is also one of the biggest names, not just on the left, but covering politics in general. He's all over the place. He's on CNN. He's everywhere. He's got a gazillion followers. Mm-hmm. He's killing it on YouTube. He does great. And by the way, I knew I knew that Adam was going to be a star. I mean, he started doing my show like 3 years ago. Wow. And I knew it. I said, this kid's going to be really, really, he's very smart. He's very well spoken. Yeah. So I'm glad so we got this event. That's about enough of Andrew because he makes me want to vomit. Him and his cronies.
He wanted a 10-minute solo opening statement. I couldn't put people through that. I'm so sorry.
Wait, hold on. Let's go back to Andrew for a moment here. He wanted to speak by himself as you introduced him for 10 minutes. What the hell was he going to talk about?
He wanted a 10-minute opening. And I was like,
what a diva.
I would literally not put anybody through that pain. I'm so sorry. What is Andrew Wilson going to talk to us about for 10 minutes? I don't want to find out. I'm so sorry.
So there's somebody on social media who donated $5. His name is David, and I guess he's criticizing me. This is one of probably Andrew Wilson's cronies who sends money in super chats to Andrew every day. I want to read this because I find this to be very funny. Shout out to Brian for saying Andrew Wilson is obsessed with Brian, while Brian talks about Andrew literally every episode. I talk about Andrew every episode? No, this is news to me. Andrew, the last few weeks I've talked about him a lot because Andrew has been dissecting my videos and commenting on them, and I find it entertaining to make fun of a guy who's a chain-smoking, 5'5" tall, obese man who clearly isn't getting any from his wife, who tells women to lick sniz and attacks people for being gay, and then acts like a diva and wants to pretend like he's the biggest name in political commentary. It's sad to me. But hey, thanks for that $4.99 donation. But please save your money for Andrew Wilson because I think his gig is going to be up pretty soon.
You're going to
have
to pay for him to get into AmFest. So take that money and go use it.
Yeah. But I'm obsessed. Yeah, I'm obsessed with Andrew. Take a look at Andrew's YouTube account and take a look at all the videos he's done specifically just about me. And then I think we'll figure out who the obsessed person is. Anyway, Z, why don't we take some phone calls? But before we do, let's talk about the event Saturday that you got going on. So you got Adam Mockler and Destiny that are going to be up there on the stage. People are going to be able to meet them and ask them questions, right?
Yeah. So when we went to go replace Andrew and Myron, we had so many good people that wanted to do the debate that we were like, let's just change the format and do like a style where everybody can get an opportunity. So that's super exciting. If you're a Trump supporter and you're watching this and you're going to be in the Phoenix area, please reach out to us because we have some reserved tickets for Trump supporters. So if you are brave enough to not just do this over the radio, but you want to do it in person, then we will take you.
There you go. And I am yours truly. I'm going to be debating Alex Stein. Alex is a pretty big name on the right, and I will be the last debate. And then right after our debate, it is going to be a sit-down question and answer thing with Destiny and Adam Mockler. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So those of you that are listening to KSHP 107.1 FM, 1400 AM, thank you for being here. Pushing the limits. We got Z in studio, the founder of the NF America Tour. Yes, that's why I'm wearing this hat. She brought it over. I said, I'm going to wear it right on the air. And I don't know if I'm going to wear it on Tim Pool's show or not. I'll have to decide on that one. But I have told Tim Pool that if he takes off his hat, I will certainly take off mine. So I don't know if that's going to happen. Looking for, I've never been to Phoenix before, by the way.
Oh, really?
No. So this is going to be my first time in Phoenix. It's going to be interesting. And I don't know. There's going to be a lot of security there, I would imagine. Right?
Oh yeah, there's going to be a lot. Yeah, I haven't been in Phoenix to Phoenix in 20 years, so I don't know. What
Oh
it's like
wow,
anymore.
you haven't been there in a while. Yeah, I've never been there before. So for those of you that want to join the program, now would be the time to do so. Boy, we've talked about a lot. We've talked about obviously the tragic events in Providence, Rhode Island, and the right-wing conspiracy theories and the lies there. We talked about Australia, and I had no idea that Z went to school right nearby there. I did not know that. That's unbelievable. That tragic there, and then Donald Trump's response to Rob Reiner and his beautiful wife being murdered, which is absolutely horrible. On the YouTube super chat, Shelley says, Brian, Andrew Wilson was lying about what happened in your debate because I watched him after you had to leave. Can't stand Andrew Wilson. I think his wife probably feels the same way that you feel, Shelley. You're probably not the only woman that feels that way about Andrew Wilson. All right, let's get to it. Let's get to some phone calls all across the country. A lot of serious topics to discuss, of course. 702-221-7283. Who are we starting with? Bobby. Bobby is first up on PTL. Hello, Bobby.
Hey, hello.
Hey, Bobby. What's up?
Not much. I just caught two of your programs, and the last one was trailer trash stupidity. And I just wanted to thank you for having your show to spotlight a whole lot of ignorant people that voted for this man. Still will not accept that he is a fraud. He's a murderer. He's a narcissist. He's a pedophile. And it's hard to believe that the people will not believe this man is who he truly is.
I think a lot of them know who he truly is, and I think a lot of them share the same lack of values that he has. Z, do you agree with that? I think a lot of Donald Trump's supporters today, they love it when Donald Trump says racist things. They love it when they say, hey, deport all illegals. They love it. I think a lot of his supporters have very similar lack of qualities. That's what I think, Z. I don't know if you agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that most of them are honestly like sociopaths at this point. I forgive people that voted for him in 2016 and thought he was draining the swamp and then changed their mind. But at this point, I'm like, I don't know how you can go to sleep at night and justify this type of behavior.
Yeah, I completely agree. By the way, the number to call, 702-221. Get that mic a little bit closer to your face. There you go. There. Thank you for the call, Bobby. I appreciate you, and I appreciate your kind words, my friend. Thank you. 702-221-7283. And again, that number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. We're talking about multiple topics today. Right-wing conspiracy theories about what took place in Providence, Rhode Island, what took place in Australia, and, of course, the Rob Reiner and his wife being brutally murdered, and Donald Trump's response to that, which is repulsive. 702-221-SAVE. Let's go to Jason. Jason is next on PTL. Hey, Jason, what's up?
Now, if you allow me for this quick synopsis, I would love to be able to speak. Number one, I don't know if you ever watched the streamers Reese Waters and Dean Rivers.
Yep.
That Dean kid, he destroys all MAGA. I love it. I had one kid that came on, he said he was from Cornell, and he destroyed him. That's number one. Number two, Andrew Wilson, Jack Sobiak, Tim Pool, all of them. Fox News, News Nation, they're all going to hell because there is nothing but hate in Donald Trump. They can't say they love Jesus. They can't say they love God, yet they love Trump. They are all going to hell. That's number two. But most important part, more than anything, I would like to say that there is nobody that is MAGA that has anything to say that they have love for anything. Because I went to my first Hanukkah synagogue, and if you come to my synagogue, you're going to die if you try to come with a gun. We're the people that is waiting for you. If you even think about coming to my synagogue, you won't even make it to the front door. You'll be popped as soon as you get through. And I'm not Jewish, but I love to be around the Messianic Jewish people. So more than anything, I would like to say one thing. If you're so full of hate, like Donald Trump, and you think you love this country, no, you actually hate this country, and you deserve to go to hell with gasoline drawers on. And to all the people that lost lives in Australia and Stussy and Brown, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of seeing people getting shot for no reason at all, just because people are full of hate. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of watching America being this murder capital of the world. That's all we are. We just murder it. Everybody that just want to go out and kill people for no reason, I'll just say 70% of them are MAGA, and I digress.
I don't disagree, Jason. Very well put, my friend, and I appreciate you. Thank you very, very much. I agree with everything that he said there. I thought that was pretty well said. I'm sure you agree too, Z, right?
I think it's probably more than 40%, but I don't have the stats to back me up on that.
Yeah, it's just sick, and it's absolutely disgusting. On our DM, we have Numchuck on your DM. Maybe if we can play it after I take a few more phone calls. Donald Trump is now responding to questions about Rob Reiner's death, and I'm curious maybe if we can play that. I think that would be interesting. But let's get back to the phone calls real quickly here at 702-221-7283. Let's go to Scott. Scott is next up on PTL. What's up, Scott?
Hey, it's been a minute. How are you? I've just been listening and thinking about how ignorant not all, but a good chunk of Americans are. And, it's hard for me to have any compassion for these people. I know you always say if someone dies, we should have compassion. But I'm at a point where I just don't care about Charlie Kirk. I don't care about even Dick Cheney, anybody, all these people who at one time voted for Trump or was a Republican.
Okay, but Scott,
because you say you've changed doesn't mean you changed.
Okay, Scott, I know what you're saying, but Scott, hear me out on this. If you don't care, I think that is very different than doing what Donald Trump did today. For example, let's just say Donald Trump doesn't care about Rob Reiner. Okay, then don't say anything.
Yeah.
You're better off not saying anything than going on social media and making it about yourself and smearing the guy who just was murdered. You cannot care. If you don't care, then just don't say anything and fine. That's not going to incite violence.
Right,
just don't say anything.
But these people do say stuff, and
Right,
that makes
that's my
me
point.
hard to have compassion back at them.
Right.
When you say we Democrats should be better and we should rise above. I'm tired of that. It's like we have a lack of gun control, a lack of education, a lack of health care, and the government keeps stupid.
Scott, I will say this.
Yeah.
I will say this, though. Charlie Kirk was murdered when I was live on the air.
Right.
Unfortunately, a friend of mine sent me a video that, is still in my mind, a close-up video of Charlie getting shot. And
I saw it.
And as I saw that video, I got emotional. And I didn't get emotional because I loved Charlie Kirk and I was a sicko fan. I got emotional because I thought about his kids. I thought about all the people that were there that had to see that. Parker happens to be a friend of mine. And I remember I talked to Parker hours after the shooting, and he was crying to me on the air. I mean, I feel for all the people that were there that had to see somebody get murdered. So I can't say I don't care. And it's not necessarily about Charlie Kirk's life as more as everybody else that was affected. Yes, I think what happened to Charlie was horrible. He didn't deserve to be murdered. I know Z agrees with me on that. But I do care about everybody that was affected. I'm not an Erica Kirk fan. I still feel horrible that she lost her husband. I don't like Erica Kirk.
I don't.
But I feel bad for his kids. I feel bad for everybody that was there. So I can't tell you that I don't care.
Well, I'm sorry to say I don't care. It's like I'm tired of the hate and all the words getting back at me. I'm a communist, an evil guy, all the things they say. So I'm at a point where I'm tired of it. I'm tired of whatever you are doing, you project on me.
I understand.
So, I'm just tired. But I want to talk to you. It's been a minute.
Good to hear from you, Scott.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, have a good holiday. I mean, I get thank you, Scott. I appreciate you. And by the way, thank you to Fish Taco for the very generous donation on the YouTube super chat. I mean, I understand where Scott is coming from.
Yeah, I've had this argument with leftists before online. And I think that the difference is that we have to understand that when Charlie got murdered, that was a symbol for not just like the right wing, but a symbol for anybody that does this type of work, right?
Yeah.
So like somebody like Parker or like Dean or like Destiny or any of these people that do these live events, that's going to affect them doing things in the future. They're not going to want to go do these things because we're normalizing that that's okay. That's where the difference is, I think, like you said, you don't have to care. It's not about caring. It's about we should be condemning political violence,
Yes.
period, on both sides. Like that's
the most
know.
important thing. And unfortunately, we have a president who is not capable of doing that. Some audio from just a few minutes ago. I don't know what he's about to say.
Oh, is he live on this?
So Donald Trump doing a press conference. He was asked about Rob Reiner. Do I have that correctly? This is moments ago. Here's what Donald Trump had to say about the murder, the brutal murder of the good man, Rob Reiner, and his wife. Have a listen to this.
A number of Republicans have denounced your statement on Truth Social after the murder of Rob Reiner. Do you stand by that post?
Well, I wasn't a fan of his at all. He was a deranged person as far as Trump is concerned. He said he knew it was false. In fact, it's the exact opposite, that I was a friend of Russia, controlled by Russia. You know, it was the Russia hoax. He was one of the people behind it. I think he hurt himself in career-wise. He became like a deranged person, Trump derangement syndrome. So I was not a fan of Rob Reiner at all in any way, shape, or form. I thought he was very bad for our country. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
What?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing in that to say I'm sorry for the loss of Rob and his wife. Nothing about condolences. Nothing. He calls him deranged. No, the person that's deranged is that creepy orange turd old man, 34 count felon adjudicated abuser who couldn't even find it in that moment. So he's doubling down on the statement that he made. I mean, when you hear that, it's like, it's so beyond the pale. I don't even know what to say anymore. I don't know what to say.
I want Jack Posobiec to please respond to this, because he tweeted yesterday that Hunter was so disrespectful by not saying that sorry for your loss. First of all, Hunter has said sorry about your loss 50 billion times on news networks.
That is so disingenuous.
But
it's such a lie. First of all, in that town hall, Hunter, the first thing he did was call out all the violence and call out what happened to the husband. That's what these right-wing turds do. They curl themselves into their MAGA mushroom gobbling pretzel that they're in. And what they do is they make excuses for the indefensible. There is a moment. Even Donald Trump there had a moment to say, even if he said this, I still wouldn't have been happy with it, but I would have said, all right, fine. Wasn't a fan of his politics and what he said about me, but my thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family.
Yeah.
This is a horrible tragedy. I would have said, okay.
Yeah, agreed.
I wish you didn't put out that tweet, Mr. President, but okay, I can live with that statement. Nothing about the murder, nothing about the loss of life. He only again made it about himself, and he called Rob Reiner deranged. Rob Reiner was an extremely intelligent person.
Of course,
he wasn't deranged at all.
No.
I mean, that's how sick this man is. So sick when I hear that. He's so sick.
Yeah.
And I'm just so disgusted. The man has no empathy. He's just a horrible. And how are they going to defend that?
They actually have on my tweet, the same thing that keeps popping up was that, oh, well, he's not celebrating it. That's what they're saying. He's not celebrating it. What a celebration look. Does he need to have a party at the White House for Rob Reiner for that to be like justified?
When somebody is murdered and your only response is he was deranged, that sounds to me like a celebration.
Yeah,
okay?
to them it doesn't.
Yeah.
He would have to actually say he's celebrating.
As Charlie Kirk was murdered, if I was on the air and I said, boy, that guy was terrible, he was deranged, he was awful for the country, people would have the right to say, Brian, it sounds like you're celebrating his death. But I wouldn't do that. Now, today I say, yeah, I think Charlie Kirk was bad for the country, but what happened to him was horrible and he didn't deserve it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I would say.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's about rewriting history, right?
Yeah,
because
exactly.
like to say that Charlie Kirk was the best guy to ever exist is trying to rewrite history
yeah,
in a
it's
way that's
disgusting.
dishonest, right?
It's disgusting.
It's not real, but
yeah. 702-221-7283, 702-221-SAVE. We want to get your reaction to Donald Trump's comments just a few moments ago. Not sending any condolences to the Reiner family, called Rob Reiner deranged, among other things, attacking Rob Reiner for his own personal gain, and nothing about rest in peace. Didn't even say that. At least he said that in the tweet. Didn't even say that. How despicable.
It's crazy too, because Rob Reiner is such a staple of like the American arts, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he wrote like the best movies of all time, Stand By Me, When Harry Met Sally. I mean, these movies are like baked into American culture.
Yeah.
So like the least you could say is that he was very talented, he contributed, and also sorry for your loss. Like
He's not capable of showing empathy for anybody, even the days after Charlie Kirk's assassination. Donald Trump was asked, how are you holding up? And he said, I'm fine. Let's talk about the ballroom.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is a sick person.
That was the same day.
Yeah, it's sick. Was it the same day?
Yeah, it was the same. It was literally like a couple hours after.
Why am I not surprised? Let's
Yeah.
get back to the phone calls at 702-221-SAVE. Your reaction to Donald Trump's comments just a few moments ago about the Rob Reiner double murder. It's horrible. Let's go to Debbie. Debbie's next on PTL. Hi, Debbie.
Hey, thoughts and prayers, I guess. That's what he's saying.
He's not even saying
He
that.
didn't even say that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not even saying that.
God. Can we get back to Andrew for a second?
Absolutely. I must be obsessed.
Okay.
They're going to say you're obsessed with Andrew now if you bring him up. Go ahead. Go ahead, Debbie.
Oh, God. Well, first off, he wants you to praise Hippopotamus for preventing the murder of 600,000 babies.
Yep.
But let's look at the deaths that Hippo has caused. Start with U.S. aid and COVID and Venezuela and January 6th.
Yeah.
No, Andrew doesn't know how to debate. He just knows how to yell one thing. He has no facts. Nothing.
That's why he didn't want to
And
debate about Trump.
And he's questioning ethics. Do you know the difference between ethics and morals?
Yeah.
Either
Yeah, he
of you?
doesn't.
Okay. Okay, ethics, you know you're not supposed to cheat on your wife. Morals, you don't cheat on your wife.
Yeah.
He doesn't get it.
Yeah, but he wants to talk about his religious ethics and we're in ethics systems, but he won't answer direct questions about Donald Trump. Listen, Andrew is a fake Christian. He is a chain-smoking, alcoholic piece of human scum. And yes, that is a personal attack, and Andrew can continue to dissect my videos and make money off of me all he wants, but he's a fake debater too. I think, I'm not going to call him a master debater anymore. I'm just going to call him a masturbator. That's what I'm going to call him from now on. Andrew the masturbator.
Well, the definition of a Christian is someone who leads their life as Christ taught us.
Right. Name me one policy. Name me one policy under Donald Trump's agenda that Jesus would say is a good policy. They can't name one. They're taking away food stamps. They're taking away welfare. They're taking away benefits. They're taking away Medicaid. They've given the biggest tax breaks to the top 1%, which is $100 billion this year. They are sending out National Guard to attack our own civilians. They're kidnapping people, ICE agents all across the country, people that are even seeking asylum that have filled out the proper paperwork. Everything that this administration is doing is against what a normal Christian would be for. I mean, that's my opinion.
Yeah.
I agree. Okay,
Yeah,
one more thing before I leave.
Yep.
Jesus was a liberal.
Well, yeah.
If
I
you
agree.
read about it, Jesus
Yeah.
was a liberal.
I agree. Jesus was a liberal. He's also a Jew too, by the way. I want to share that between evangelical Christians. Thank you for the call, Debbie. I appreciate you. I didn't think this could get any worse, but we have another statement that Trump made. So if you didn't think that the statement that I just played for you on Robbie, Rob Reiner was despicable, Donald Trump is now blaming the university for the shooting that took place at Brown. He's now blaming the university and security at the university for a random person going in there with a gun and shooting people. Listen to this.
Hopefully they're going to capture him.
Has Kash Patel told you why it's been so difficult for the FBI to identify who the shooter is?
Well, it's always difficult. So far, we've done a very good job of doing it with Charlie, with, the various times this has happened. They've done it in pretty much record time. But you really have to ask the school a little bit more about that because, this was a school problem. They had their own guards, they had their own police, they had their own everything. But you'd have to ask that question really to the school, not to the FBI. We came in after the fact. And the FBI will do a good job, but they came in after the fact.
What the hell is he talking about? First of all, they arrested the wrong person. The only reason why you got the alleged perpetrator and Tyler Robinson is because his family turned him in.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you mean the FBI did a good job there? And then when it comes to this whole situation, you guys arrested the wrong person. Your FBI arrested the wrong person. Then they had to release him. He was in custody for 19 hours. And then he's blaming the university?
I didn't
What is he
realize
talking
it was
about?
the university's job now to catch murderers, but okay. I mean,
What is he talking about? The FBI doesn't know who this guy is. There's cameras everywhere. They haven't made an arrest yet. Cash Patel and his FBI. What is he talking about? They've done a wonderful job, and he's blaming the university now?
well, they weren't there exactly at the time the shooting happened. Right?
What do you want?
As if the FBI is just like hanging out on college campus.
Yeah, do you want 5 armed guards in every building at every university across the country? What the hell is he talking about? What is he talking about?
His brain is done.
Oh, my God.
It's time to retire.
Oh, my God. Shelly on the YouTube super chat says, Trump is deranged, a horrible human being, the worst president we've ever had without empathy for anyone. What a sob. Yeah, I was going to add an L there. What a slob. But 702-221, by the way, 7283 is the number to call. We're talking about a number of different topics. Let's see. Let's go to Lucky Dragon. Lucky Dragon is next up on PTL. What's up, Lucky Dragon?
What's up? So, is Rob Reiner the guy who was married to Nancy Pelosi's wife? Like,
what?
The amount of...
No.
Right. The amount of jokes that come out of this guy's mouth are so inconsiderate and disgusting.
I get what you're
It's
saying,
like-
though. It's like Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul Pelosi, and all the conspiracy theories that came out there, and the lack of empathy. You're right, and yeah.
Doesn't it seem like he just tweeted out something that was like, I hope one of my Trump supporters was the one to stab one of the best directors in American history's
legend
wife. Like, it's amazing to me, the sickness that is going on.
And you know what?
Everybody wants to worry about Charlie Kirk and like what people were saying about him. I never said anything, I never even paid attention to Charlie Kirk. That's how stupid that guy was.
And I want you to finish. I'm sorry, I want you to finish, but if my producer has the time, it's all over circulating social media. Rob Reiner talking about the Charlie Kirk death. If you can find that on the Pierce Morgan So Numchuck, I appreciate it. Sorry to interrupt you there, but I do want to be able to play that audio in a few. But go ahead. I'm sorry, Dragon. Finish what you were saying.
No, I mean, it's disgusting. We all need to stop having so much hate in our heart because we literally hate Donald Trump. The TFS is a serious problem. It's worse than TDS. I want to get, like, myself, I need to touch grass. You all have a good day.
All right, you take care, man. I'm with you.
Me too.
So, Z, I want to play you this audio because it goes to show you, as you were talking about, the compassion that Rob Reiner, and it wasn't that long after I had done Pierce. I think this was the following week where they had Rob Reiner on. I loved Rob Reiner when he did these interviews because he was honest, but he was also compassionate. Yeah, he called out Donald Trump, but he's a compassionate man. This is soon after the Charlie Kirk assassination. Rob Reiner appears on Pierce Morgan, and Pierce Morgan asks him about this murder. And I want you to listen to what a decent, compassionate man had to say. Even though Rob Reiner probably disagreed with almost everything Charlie Kirk stood for, this is what he had to say.
When you first heard about the murder of Charlie Kirk, what was your immediate gut reaction to it?
Well, horror, absolute horror. And I unfortunately saw the video of it, and it's beyond belief what happened to him, and that should never happen to anybody. I don't care what your political beliefs are. That's not acceptable. That's not a solution to solving problems. And I felt like what his wife said at the service, at the memorial they had, was exactly right. And totally, I believe, I'm Jewish, but I believe in the teachings of Jesus, and I believe in doing to others, and I believe in forgiveness. And what she said to me was beautiful and absolutely, she forgave his assassin, and I think that is admirable.
That is what a decent human being sounds like. He said all the right things there. Donald Trump is not capable of talking like that. All the president of the United States would have to say is, exactly what Rob Reiner just said.
Yeah.
Which basically is, I didn't, he didn't talk about politics. He talked about his religion, and he praised Erica Kirk, and he said how horrible it was. Donald Trump is not capable of giving a response like that.
No, he's not.
That's what a good human being sounds like. And we played the audio of Donald Trump just moments ago, and the statement that he made about Rob Reiner. He was asked, "Did you're getting a lot of flack even from people on the right." By the way, who on the right is criticizing Donald Trump? Tim Pool is? No, okay. So this is what Tim Pool. I'm doing his show, and this is why I have some respect for Tim Pool. Okay. So this is what Tim Pool just tweeted out. He said, Trump has personal reasons to be upset with Reiner, but he can do better. This was not appropriate. Rob was very gracious when Charlie was murdered. We can return that grace. Thank you, Tim Pool, for saying what is absolutely obvious. For the people out there that attack me for saying Tim Pool is not this horrible human being, that is why I say that. He's one of the biggest names on the right, and he's one of the few names on the right that is saying truth. What Tim Pool just said, I'm proud that he said that. I'm happy that he said that. Why can't other people say what Tim Pool just said?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I don't agree with anything Tim Pool says, but he's
right there.
That should be the only response.
Yeah, he's right. He's right there.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that's who Tim Pool is. I disagree with a lot of what he stands for. I think he's made some mistakes in a lot of different areas, which we don't have to dive into. But he just stated the obvious.
Yeah,
Rob Reiner reacted in a very gracious way after Charlie Kirk was murdered. Yes, you guys should return the favor. How about the president? Now, I would use different words. I would say it's beyond inappropriate. I think it's worse than inappropriate. I think it's despicable.
Yeah.
But again, he's one of the biggest names on the right who's calling the president's behavior inappropriate. I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it. Right.
Jack Posobiec, Erica Kirk. None of these people are going to say that.
And this is going to be my argument with Tim on Wednesday. And you can tell me whether you disagree. I'm doing a 3-hour debate with him on Wednesday.
Oh, God.
So I'm going to bring up Candace Owens. By the way, I agree with everything he said about Candace Owens. Here's the difference. I've been talking about Candace like that for years. I've said worse things about Candace. I haven't called her the C word. Tim did that. Don't have a problem with it when it comes to her. But here's what I will say to Tim. I agree with what you said about Candace Owens, and she's made it personal with you, and she's put your life in jeopardy. I'm sorry you've had to go through that.
I don't feel bad for anybody on the right because they created Candace Owens. This is the problem, right? Like they're mad at the monster that they created. She's gone off the deep end, but as we were just saying, like Jack Posobiec started the Pizzagate conspiracy. I mean, all of these people have started their own conspiracies.
Yeah, they have. And that's what I'm going to talk to Tim about. And I'm also going to try to get him to admit that Vladimir Putin is an evil, murderous dictator who started the war in Ukraine, because I'm not sure he's ever said that on the record.
No, I doubt it.
Well, I'm gonna try to nail him down on that one as well.
But Candace is just the runaway train now. That's why they're mad.
Yeah,
they're not mad at what she's saying. They're mad that she's a runaway train that they can't control.
Well, it's all about clicks, and boy, would I love to be a fly on the wall in that private conversation. Apparently, Erica Kirk and Candace Owens are going to have. But if you want to see the look of the devil, just take a look at Erica Kirk's eyes when Candace Owens' name is just brought up. That was kind of weird. I don't know if you saw that video.
Yo, I saw it. But like Candace is that what you think she's going to like walk away and you know what? There's no conspiracy. Forget it. Like, no, of course not.
Look,
That's,
listen, I'd like to think that Tyler Robinson was probably the only person responsible for this. There are some weird things that happened in the moments after his death that we've talked about. But Candace Owens is only looking for, and it's worked for her, clicks and money, and she's got one of the most popular shows around, and that's why she's doing this. I agree with everything Tim Pool has said about her, but I'd like to see Tim Pool call out others on the right that do the exact same thing. Maybe it hasn't affected Tim in the same way, but I will talk to him about that on Wednesday. Let's get back to the phone calls at 702-221-7283. Breaking news here in just the last few minutes. Donald Trump holding a press conference, doubling down on the statements that he made about Rob Reiner, calling Rob Reiner deranged, no thoughts and prayers, nothing. He didn't even say that. It's so despicable. And from what I can see, one of the only people on the right is Tim Pool that is saying, hey, what the president did was wrong and inappropriate. Let's go to Adrian. Adrian is next up on PTL. Hi, Adrian.
Hello, Brian.
What's up?
So, speaking of despicable, I'm not sure if you're familiar with like Instagram that much or how often you're on it, but a few days ago, the White House posted, the movie How the Grinch Stole Christmas with Jim Carrey. They titled it How Illegals Stole Healthcare. Did you see that?
Yes, I did see that actually, and it's a lie, as we know, because it is illegal in this country for an undocumented immigrant to be on food stamps, welfare, or any government program. Yes, of course, if they go into the ER, they're gonna get help, of course, which I'm okay with. Those are lies put forth by the entire Republican Party that Democrats want all illegals to have free health care. That is a lie. It's a complete lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was so pissed when I saw it. I just wanted to know if you had saw it. That's all.
I did, and I continue to call out the lies being put forth by the right and the Trump mushroom gobblers that continue to lie about healthcare. They continue to lie about the Democrat shutdown, And listen, it's nonstop 24/7. Adrian, I do appreciate your phone call. Thank you so much.
Thank you, buddy.
Yes, 702-221-SAVE is the number to call, 702-221-7283. Let's go to Rebecca. Rebecca is next up on PTL. Hello, Rebecca.
Yes.
Rebecca, you got to lower. Yeah, Rebecca, you got to lower your radio for me.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry.
No, not a problem, Rebecca. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I'm almost in my mid-50s. I grew up watching Mr. Reiner on All in the Family, Meathead, all the classic movies, Princess Bride, Harry Met Sally, etc., etc. He was not a political figure. And for Donald Trump to be saying these comments, I don't know if it's a distraction. I don't know. He's just mentally deranged. And this man, his poor daughter, had to walk in and find her parents with their throats slit.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Allegedly from her brother.
Horrible. I
And
feel
for
so
what
much for her.
The
It's horrible.
president is doing is completely just disgusting.
Anybody on the right, let me rephrase that. Any human being in this country that is saying that they don't have a problem with Donald Trump's statements on Truth Social and the response he just had that we just played, you are despicable. I usually don't like to generalize because I don't generalize all Trump supporters, but in this aspect, I am. If you're not doing what Tim Pool just did at a minimum, and really all Tim Pool said was, listen, Rob Reiner was a decent guy. You know, what he said after the Charlie Kirk murder, he said all the right things. We owe him the same respect. What the president's doing is wrong. That's basically what he said.
Yeah.
If you're not at a minimum, if you're not at a minimum, at least saying that, you are despicable. I called out people on the left that were celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. Many of my friends that are on the left called out Charlie Kirk's, those that were celebrating his death. If you're not willing to do that when it comes to Trump's behavior here and his statements, then I've had it with you. I'm done with you. That's how I feel. And I would assume you feel the same way, my dear. Thank you so much for the phone call. You agree with that?
I agree.
Thank you. I appreciate you. 702-221-7283. Z, do you agree with that? Like, that's just how I feel. Yeah.
At this point, I'm like, I don't know what else we can even, how we could justify anybody that justifies that.
Yeah, I agree. It's horrible. 702-221-7283. Lori on the YouTube super chat says the Republicans are keeping Trump in office so they can get their agenda. They know he's sick. How can religious leaders keep on following him? I think that's a very fair question to ask, Lori. How about any religious leader? Anybody, when you see Donald Trump respond the way he responds, not only about the Rob Reiner murder, but about what took place in Providence, Rhode Island.
Yeah.
He's blaming the university. That would be like blaming Columbine or blaming a school for somebody going in there with an AR-15 and shooting a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just at a loss for words here because, the conspiracy theories being put forth by the far right, when it comes to these tragedies that took place in Australia, when it came to the tragedy that took place in Providence, Rhode Island, can you imagine what those people in that community must be facing? Obviously Australia as well, but there's a shooter, there's a killer that's on the loose. The FBI doesn't know really who they're looking for. I think if they knew who they were looking for, they would have released a picture or a face or something. They haven't released anything other than one image, which you may or may not have seen, of him walking, and you can't see his face. He's wearing a winter hat, not an F America hat, by the way. He's wearing a winter hat and decked in all black. They arrest the wrong person. He was in custody for 19 hours. I'm sure there's going to be lawsuits there. And yet Donald Trump has the gall to say the FBI is doing a wonderful job.
It's just, I just don't know what type of, none of us are safe. If that's the best we can do, then I fear.
Have you guys had any threats because of your organization? Have you guys received any weird emails or phone calls? Have you guys had any of that lately?
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah.
Through email, through
email. We don't have a phone line, thank God. But yeah, through email, through social media DMs, stuff like that. But I always say that I'm not worried about the people that send those threats. I'm worried about the people that don't send those threats, because those are the people that are a lot more dangerous. So, but yeah, we have to keep going. I mean, that's the most important thing.
You do. I certainly agree with you. And these are, I would tend to think at AmFest in Phoenix that the security would be tightened as sharp as you possibly could have it, right?
Yeah. It's going to be like, nobody's getting in the door without a full body pat down, metal detector, all of those
So
things.
if there's any time you'd probably feel a little bit more safe, it would be inside that venue. And we're going to be across the street, right? What's the bar called that's across the street?
It's called Marjorie's. Bar?
Marjorie's?
I don't know if I'm like pronouncing that right. But
Marjorie Taylor Greens? I didn't know Marjorie owned a bar.
Right.
Wow.
But yeah, it's right across the street from the Phoenix Convention Center. So, I mean, we're always a lot more safe in indoor environments, right? Like where the security cost is a lot higher and it's a lot scarier is when we're doing our outdoor events.
Sure,
Yeah.
of course. And I would imagine that two people with bullseyes, I hate to use that term, would be people like Destiny, would be people like Adam Mock. They're two very intelligent, articulate people who call out and separate fact from fiction. And I would imagine they've received plenty of threats as well.
All of our threats are really just because of Destiny, if I'm being honest.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Nobody's threatening us personally, really. I mean,
I really don't understand that. Listen, I think it was misconstrued. Obviously, Destiny doesn't support political violence in any way, shape, or form. And he took a lot of flack. And I've asked him about this on the show. He's taken flack because he appeared on Piers Morgan and he said, why should I call out the violence? I'm kind of paraphrasing here, but why should I call out the violence of what happened to Charlie Kirk when Donald Trump doesn't call out violence on the other side? I get the point he was trying to make. Maybe I would have stated it a little bit differently, but he's called out political violence all the time. He constantly does that.
He did in the same
constantly.
episode, yeah.
He constantly does that. I think that's something that the right does a lot. And then I had a debate, and I'm not going to debate this guy ever again, but one of Andrew Wilson's lackeys, there I am bringing up his name again. And I'm bringing up Donald Trump and his rhetoric and the things he says. And then this guy brings up, well, Joe Biden started the lie of there are good people on both sides. That was taken out of context. I'm like, really? You want to compare the two and conflate the two? And it's very difficult to have a good faith debates with people like that.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah. So when your organization, and I'll be going with you guys, and I'm looking forward to it, what are you hoping to accomplish out there in Phoenix?
So we've had a really interesting year, obviously, with everything that's happened. But like we had the most viral video of the year, more than the White House, more than any other influencer, which was Dean's video when he was confronted Charlie Kirk at Texas A&M.
Yep.
And we knew from that moment that it was going to be our responsibility to use the funding that we're getting to flip very critical seats. So while AmFest is very important, it is more important that we raise money to flip these seats. And I know a lot of people don't know what the Democrats' plan is. And the Democrats, as a party, the plan is that they always go into these +1 to +3 seats. One of them, by the way, is right here in Las Vegas, Susie Lee's seat, +1 Democrat district, right? These are the seats that the Democratic Party is going to be heavily involved with, making sure that we either hold on to them or that we flip them. Unfortunately, there's over 60 seats that we should be holding right now. And we don't, because we don't have enough resources. We don't have the Turning Point USAs days. We don't have Scott Preslers. We don't have people like this working on those other
Thank
seats.
God we don't have Scott Pressler. But I understand your point.
I would like a Scott Presler, though.
I understand your point, but I once hung up on Scott Pressler because he wouldn't have a debate with me, and he just wanted
he's
to
never going to debate.
spew his nonsense.
He's a self-hating.
Did you hear the story? I'm sorry you brought up Scott Pressler, but I get your point that you were trying to make. But you know the story of Scott Pressler when I guess he lost a job when he was in a building in some Republican offices, and I guess he took some how should I put this pictures that are sexual in nature with other men, and they're released. You could look it up on social media. Apparently years ago he lost a job for doing that, but
I mean, I feel violated from his current social media because that man posts more pictures of his stomach than I ever want to see from anybody on social media. But I'm like, listen, you're an operative. I actually don't get it because I'm like, as an operative, that's like the worst thing you should be doing is like spreading naked pictures of yourself. But whatever.
Unless you're Andrew Wilson, he's very attractive.
Oh yeah, definitely Andrew. Yeah. But Scott Presler, I mean, I will give him this. He's been on the ground in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, all these places, and he is making huge strides. National Ground Game, which sponsors the UFA tour, our goal is to go to those +4 to +8 Republican districts and flip those seats. And we just endorsed 3 races that are very, very critical races. Yeah. One of them is in Ohio 7. That's Ed Fitzgerald's seat. Very important race. We have Emily Burge in Wisconsin. Very important. And then we also have Matt Raines, which everybody has counted out this seat, which is in Montana, but it's only a +5 Republican district. And Matt Raines is an incredible candidate. So that is really what our focus is in the success of AmFest, is that we want to raise the money to be able to go into those critical seats and flip them.
I think that's really important. And obviously the midterms are so crucial. And I think there's a lot of Republicans that are actually shaking in their boots because I think it was the Republican chair who was saying, you know, we're on tape. We're probably going to lose the midterms.
Scott Presler was saying the same thing. Yeah. They know that the writing's on the wall for them, but the difference is that we can't just say that the writing's on the wall and that we're going to win. We have to go out. We have to knock those doors, you know?
So no doubt. And hopefully you'll be able to accomplish that. And you got to, keep up the hard work. It's hard for me to say this, but lately, yes, I have been agreeing with Marjorie Taylor Greene on a number of different issues. Well, I think she's a phony and a fake. And the only reason why she's not running again is because she knows she's going to lose. And I think she's a despicable person and I don't accept any of her apologies. She has been right on a few issues, and she's right about this one today as well. So she retweeted the Donald J. Trump horrific statement on Truth Social that he made about Rob Reiner. Here's Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. This is her statement. She said, Rob Reiner and his wife were tragically killed at the hands of their own son, who reportedly had drug addiction and other issues, and their remaining children are left in serious mourning and heartbreak. This is a family tragedy, not about politics or political enemies. Many families deal with a family member with drug addiction and mental health issues. It's incredibly difficult and should be met with empathy, especially when it ends in murder. Yes, I agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene on that. Where were you for the last 9 years? That's why you're a fake and a phony. And now all of a sudden you have a moral compass. The only reason why she's saying this is because she's not running for re-election.
Of course.
But she's right.
She is right.
Obviously the statement is correct.
Yeah.
All these, not all, but most of these Republicans feel the same way. They just don't have the backbone to do it because they want to remain in power.
Of course.
Right?
I don't know if Senator Mike Lee would agree with it, but most normal politicians would.
I hope that CNN and MSNBC and virtually, we know Fox News isn't going to do it, but they press these Republicans and keep reading this tweet because we cannot normalize it. I keep saying that. We cannot normalize Trump's behavior and say, well, this is who he is. Nothing we can do about it. No, we need to continue to call it out.
That's why we have to give Barry Weiss her flowers on that, because she pushed hard. And I think a lot of the press are really scared to push against Erica, Trump, all of these people. But that's their job as journalists. Like, you need to have journalistic integrity. And what she showed in that moment was journalistic integrity.
I mean, speaking of which, yeah, I agree. Speaking of, what do you make of the Pentagon and only credentialing members of the media that kiss Donald Trump's ass and are Trump mushroom gobblers? Like, pretty soon that's going to be happening in the White House. And by the way, if you notice, Caroline Leavitt rarely is calling on people that ask challenging questions. She does call on Caitlin Collins, but usually doesn't allow a follow-up and interrupts her and doesn't let her finish the question. I mean, this is where we're headed right now. That's why we use the term dictatorship. That's what they're doing.
That's what they're doing. Yeah. When you start, this is what they did in Russia, right? Like they start with the press and they suppress the press, and then you have, a lot of issues that follow up with that.
Yeah. We're going out there to Phoenix on what is a very busy news week, with these two mass shootings and these tragedies, one on our own soil here and one in Australia. And it is very difficult times that we are living in. I want to go back to the YouTube super chat, with a very generous $50 donation. Thank you, Irish. We really do appreciate you and your support. Irish says, great work, Brian. I've been listening to you for about a year and you always are on point. Keep it up. Well, Irish, we appreciate your support of this show. It means the world. Thank you so much. We didn't expect that we were going to go out there under these circumstances. We knew that it would be, volatile and obviously Charlie Kirk not being there and everything else. Sure, there's a lot of emotions, but you add that layer to what has happened here in the last couple of days. And listen, I don't know if this guy is going to be caught who's responsible for the shooting at Brown, but this is a horrible situation. You tack on what happened to Rob Reiner and Donald Trump's response to it. We should be talking about Rob Reiner and his life and the legacy that he leaves behind and his family. And instead we have to cover the president of the United States, doing this. And that's going to be my question to a lot of people out there, including Alex Stein, when I debate him, who does not want to talk about Donald Trump, by the way, he told me.
They never do.
Yeah, they don't want, he wants to talk about transgenders. Now, listen, I can destroy and
feminism, transgenders.
Yeah, I'm happy. Myron's going to be there, and I know I'm not really debating him, but the question I would ask Myron is, why don't you call out the anti-Semitic attack in Australia? Why don't you call that out? And I'm going to tell him, I'm going to be like, your rhetoric.
He's an anti-Semite.
Yeah, your rhetoric and the anti-Jew rhetoric, in my opinion, helps lead to these shootings happenings. And my question to Myron is the money worth it? Are lives worth you making money? You spew anti-Semitic rhetoric, just like a Tucker Carlson, just like a Nick Fuentes.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you feel any responsibility for that? And I want to make him apologize. Are you sorry for these Jews that lost their lives? I would assume he will probably say yes. Do you take any responsibility? He will say no.
I don't think he would say yes to that first question.
You don't think he would? Wow, that's like another level.
I mean, I don't know. I have a text from him that, if you want me to read it,
please do.
And he pulled out, by the way, too, so he's not going to be there.
Surprise. When did he do that? Today?
When yesterday, officially, when they basically, because he doesn't want to debate about Trump, he wants to debate about feminism. So, but he essentially said that. Let me pull it up real quick.
A lot of these anti-Semites, of course, will not call out what took place to these Jews because they're probably happy.
Oh, this is interesting. So our conversation was about somebody named Xavier DeRusso. Do you know him?
His name sounds familiar.
So he's works for PragerU. He's gay. He's black. He's actually a really nice guy. I've actually had conversations with him. Obviously don't agree with anything he says. Also, I think he was like pretty close with Charlie Kirk, and he's very close, obviously, with Turning Point. So when Andrew was pulling out, we said, hey, do you want to debate with Xavier instead?
By the way, for the record, I hope Andrew knows how to pull out. That would be good for good for the country. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Terrible joke. Go ahead.
So we said, would you want to debate with him? And he said, no, he's a Zionist and he's gay. I don't debate with gay Zionists. I said,
wow, what a wonderfully nice thing to say.
Well, first of all, that's your whole party, unfortunately.
So Myron said that. Myron said that to you privately.
Yes, and then he said, I said, I don't think the board will mind that prompt that we were talking about. But I don't know who I could find for you that's not a gay Zionist, because that's basically your entire side of the aisle. So do you have somebody like that you would suggest debating with? And he said, well, me, Andrew, and a few others on the right are completely anti-Zionist. He said, I take it a step further and criticize Jewish power in America and world Jewry, but that's just my position.
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
World Jewry?
World Jewry.
All right. So
I said, I'm very aware of what you do. We've argued about this on Twitter.
So I think I made my opinions pretty clear when I debated Myron in person in DC.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he is a phony. I do believe he's anti-Semitic. But I don't believe he believes a lot of the things that he says.
Well, he says himself that he's anti-Semitic.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And when you're anti-Semitic, that means you are hating on a group, in this case, Jewish people, an entire group of people. You're judging an entire group of people because of your despicable beliefs.
Mhm.
That makes you an ignorant person. But it's interesting because, I called out Myron and I said some pretty not so nice things to him because I think he deserves it. And off the air or away from the cameras, he's very quiet. He's
Mhm.
very well-mannered. He doesn't offend anybody. He keeps to himself. But yet when you get him in front of a camera, in front of a whatever, he turns into this different person.
Yeah.
And
That's like a lot of these guys. That's the crazy part. I think a lot of these people think that these guys are like this in real life, but I organize with these people on the right all the time, and I've never had anybody say any of these things to my face, right? Like they're always polite.
well, Myron
sweet,
didn't. Myron really didn't say anything other than calling me a Jew, which is pretty stupid, and then calling me a dreidel spinner. But he didn't use the terminologies that he normally
What's a
uses.
dreidel spinner?
It's just stupid. But he didn't say the things he normally says to others that he said to me. But I tried to go at him pretty hard. Yes, I do believe he's in the closet, and there's nothing wrong with being a
They're
homosexual.
all in the closet.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being a homosexual. I think anybody that knows me knows that I am pro LGBTQ community. But I believe some of the biggest gay haters out there are the people that are gay themselves. Nick Fuentes, I believe, is 100% a homosexual. Now he claims he's a 27-year-old virgin. That's never been with a woman before.
Yeah. He said that women are difficult to be around.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I was like, yeah, if you're Nick Fuentes, probably.
Yeah.
I
Well,
would
when you're a neo-Nazi white supremacist, I
And
would
you're
imagine.
gay.
Yeah, I would imagine a lot of women would find you very difficult to be around as well. Nothing wrong with being gay, but it goes against their platform, right? Many of Myron's fans are homophobic.
Yeah.
Many of Nick Fuentes' fans are homophobic. So, they would lose it's bad for their brand. It's bad for their fan base when they come out and say, yes, I am gay.
The real question is Grindr prepared for this weekend? Because this is your biggest event of the year. So I don't want to see any outages this time.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's actually a really good point. So Zia, I want to give you the opportunity because we only have a couple more minutes left here. Can you please give out the information? I don't know how many tickets you've sold so far, but I'm looking forward to embarrassing Alex Stein. I'm thinking. Tell me what you think about this. I'm thinking of bringing a big sign that says Trump mushroom gobbler with an arrow next to it. And during the debate, I'm just gonna because he likes to prank people. I'm gonna do the same thing to him.
You should, yeah.
Trump mushroom with a big mushroom and Donald Trump's face on it, and then pointing at Alex the whole time and just holding it up during the debate. But yeah, how do people get tickets? What does it cost? And give out the time. And I know there's going to be a lot of other debates before my debate, which is kind of cool.
That's cool. Yeah. It's going to be
Talk
great.
about that.
So we're going to have, I believe it's 5 lineup debates. And Brian will actually be the last one before our headliners come up with Alex Stein. So far, we are almost sold out completely. So,
wow. That's awesome.
And I will put this disclaimer out because I think it's important. I don't want anybody to be upset. If you purchase a ticket today, moving forward, you will not be in the main room of the event, unfortunately. Those tickets are completely gone at this point, unless you purchase the $100 or $200 level. But if you purchase the $25 level, unfortunately, there will be overflow rooms. So you're not going to be like outside. You'll still have like full access, but you're not going to be able to actually see the stage. So just as a disclaimer, if you purchase a ticket today, again, unless you purchase the higher level tickets, and then you do get that main room.
How many
stage.
tickets did you sell?
We've sold, I think, 230, and we have
That's
a
really good
400 capacity.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
and
so
you're going to
we're-
sell more before the event.
Oh
That's
yeah,
really
we're
cool.
gonna sell. Yeah, and we don't want to have it because in Tampa it was like we oversold and it was like too stuffy in there. We don't want people to be leaving because it's too packed. So we're gonna be like making sure that.
And I just want to give a public service announcement. Those of you should feel pity for Z and sympathy because she's going to be stuck with me in a car for 5 hours driving over there. That's going to be hell for her. So please give her some grace. She's going to need a drink when she gets into Phoenix.
And I
might have
can't
to
even drink because I'm 33 weeks pregnant. So
okay, no
what
drinking.
am I gonna do?
No drink. I'll buy you a glass of water. But yeah,
Yeah.
she's stuck with me in a car driving to Phoenix. Oh my goodness.
Somebody pray for me.
Yeah, somebody please pray. But no, I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then there's going to be a meet and greet after where people are going to get a chance to take pictures and all that sort of stuff.
So if you purchase those higher level tickets, you will get the meet and greet, but again, not the $25 ticket. So we're going to put that on the website today so that everybody's like aware of that. But yeah, you'll get to meet the creators. And by the way, even if you're in the overflow room, it's not a bad thing because our creators will be like walking around. You'll get
Sure.
to talk to them. It's still going to be fun.
It's so fun for me because like I've had Adam on my show for years and I've never actually met him in person.
Oh, you have?
We were
Oh,
talking.
nice.
We were talking on the phone the other day, and I was like, "Adam, we're finally going to get to meet." And he's like, "Yeah,
Actually,
I know."
I haven't met Adam in person either.
Such a nice kid.
Yeah, he's super
He's
cool.
such a good dude, and I'm really looking forward to meeting him. That's going to be a lot of fun. He's really awesome. And you know, all the other creators. There's so many good people involved in the NF America tour. There's a lot of people that I've gotten a chance to know, and because of you guys, I'm also very grateful.
And everybody will be there too.
I'm very
All of
grateful
them.
because of
Yeah.
the people that I've met. I'm able to, you know, do the Tim Pool show, which I'm very grateful for. And I've made friends with people and some really, really good people that have been so kind to me. So I'm very grateful for that. And I can't wait for the event that's coming up this Saturday. It's going to be a lot of fun. And Z, thank you so much for being here. And if you haven't bought tickets, please go on their website and please do so because it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm not signing any MAGA hats. I did that at the Tim Pool event last month in DC. That was a one-time thing. I'm not doing it again. But
what if they pay you extra though?
then I'll do
Then
it.
you'll do it.
Then I'll
Okay.
do it. Yeah, then I'll do it. Depends how much money. But anyway, Z, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Keep up the good work. And I'll try to put tape over my mouth on our trip to Phoenix. I'll try to be quiet. Okay.
Thanks
but thank
for
you.
having me.
Yeah, good to see you. And thank you for the beanie. I might wear it on the Tim Pool show. I don't know. We'll see.
Do it.
All right, everybody. Tomorrow on the program, Ron Filipkowski from Midas Touch. Of course, Adam Mockler is from Midas Touch as well. We love Ron. He joins us every week. Ron's going to be joining us tomorrow to start the program. And of course, we'll give you any updates on what's taking place in Baltimore. Or why did I say Baltimore? Providence. I'm thinking Brown University. Providence, Rhode Island. We'll give you updates there and any other updates on the shooting in Australia. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.
Here's the deal. The country's a mess, and America's youth is stuck at the center of a tug-of-war between propaganda, billionaires, and political clowns who think TikTok is a national security